Metamorphosis session for the season. As you guys know, the theme for you and for me and for the students that are stepping onto the leadership ladder for this year is empowered leadership. And that's what we're going to be leaning into in these monthly sessions, which I'm really excited for. I think there's huge untapped potential in the team and in the students and in me. And I think by giving this kind of regular time, I think we're going to achieve ridiculous things. So that's why we're here. I thought if we kind of clutched all the kind of boring stuff together into one slide, then it kind of keeps it nice and clean. You guys get the check-in that you need, but then we can kind of get on with the good stuff. So Celebration Week, as you guys know, I've been looking at kind of how that's going to run and all those things. I did a trial run last night with my classes, so I'm going to make some improvements, which will then be coming your way either later today or first thing tomorrow. Probably first thing tomorrow, just because then I can run with the improvements tonight and then make any further tweaks. The safe return to the studios protocols will be with you all by the end of this week. The kind of full chapter and verse, all the things, and there will also be a form in there for you to sign, which you'll need to sign before you formally return to the studio. So if you can print it off, sign it and bring it in, that's great. If not, first thing, as soon as you get into the studio on Tuesday, head to the printer, print it off, sign it, done. Retention is looking really strong. Sam is on holiday today, so I don't have the stats, but anecdotally I feel like it's only been maybe one or two, if that, this week, so that's looking good. And we'll have the full stats for that next week. Attraction is looking very strong. We've had 6 new class enrollments in the last 24 hours, so lots of onboarding to be getting on top of, which is kind of add it to the list, but at least this is the right kind of work. This is the, I don't know if you guys can see, I bought this necklace, which is, it's got a bee and some honeycomb, and it's just to kind of keep front of my mind, this is what we're going for, that hive of 500. So yeah, lots of welcome cards for me to be writing, lots of links for Joe to be sending out, lots of payments for Sammy to be charging, all the things. And Tom, coincidentally, they all seem to be in your classes, so then you've got to do all the teacher stuff. So yeah, we're all going to be crazy busy doing our own elements of onboarding. Yeah, it's gone nuts. It's at the stage where I can't really keep up with dealing with the inquiries, which is wonderful. I just want to take a moment to make sure that everyone's really accountable with taking responsibility to get some reviews generated. I don't know if you guys saw, I tagged you all in the best review from Christine Lamb. It was just wonderful. The line that jumped out at me was, during COVID-19, you all got it so right. And I was like, oh my God, if you'd have told me that on the 17th of March, well, I would probably have cried and given you a cuddle, because that's what I wanted to hear. So yeah, really, really wonderful. And the impact of that, is obviously it makes us feel good and like, oh goodness, it's working, it's all worth it, all the things. But also, obviously, when people come onto our page and they see that, that's like, oh, okay. So recently I've had one lady kind of raise an objection around, we do want to start, but you know, what are your safety protocols? And now to be able to go, well, this is what one of our families says, like, we got it so right. So there you go. So it's got that kind of, that benefit as well, both in sales stuff and then also to overcome sales objections once we're kind of in and nurturing those leads. I've spent some of the weekend doing the kind of the framework for the shush and for the IAs, and I've put drafts up on Trello. This is not a training. This is not like, please watch this training so you know what it is. This is, let me talk you through what's going on in my head, and you tell me what you think. Is it, I remember seeing Joe, in Joe's reflection, like, I want it to be simple, I want it to be simple, I want it to be simple. So I went with that as like the, how can we make it the most impact for the simplest process, make it really replicable, make it, you know, we create 2 years worth and then it just rolls on and on and on and on and on. So yeah, I'd really love your insight. This is not a deadline of, you must tell me by Friday. This is, I'm going to move forward with it on Saturday. So if you've got time and you're interested in kind of playing around with it with me, then if you could do it before Friday, then, or no, by the close of play on Friday, then I can look at it on Saturday. Okay, so why True North? Why True North? Has anyone got any ideas as to why I chose this as being the name of this session rather than like Leadership 101? partly not because that sounds crap, but if it didn't sound crap, anyone got any ideas as to why it's true north?
It's like navigation, isn't it? It's about leading.
Does anyone know what true north is, or rather what normal north isn't?
Oh, no, I didn't.
No.
I only know it because of Frozen 2.
Sorry, T, go one more time, I couldn't hear you.
I said I only know about True North because of Frozen 2.
Okay, well, talk to us about True North in the context of Frozen 2. This is great.
So Kristoff is singing a song when Anna goes off on another adventure and leaves him alone. And it's all about being lost in the woods. And he realizes that she is his true north and his like landmark and how he navigates his life. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Okay, cool. So true north is different from magnetic north. So magnetic north is like north, but that's what you would see on the compass if you're looking at north, and it actually moves around. So a magnetic compass very rarely actually accurately literally shows north, because over millions and millions of years, magnetic north actually moves around a bit. Sometimes it even reverses. So at some points in the Earth's history, magnetic north has actually been closer to the South Pole. It's craziness, it's craziness. So magnetic north, although that's what we think of, actually has got quite a bit of kind of ebb and flow to it. Whereas true north, as per Frozen, or as per leadership, or as per whatever like the guiding light in your life is your orienting point. So it's a fixed point in a spinning world. So our raving fans might say that DanceWise was the true north for our students during COVID. We were the one thing that was like, no, we're doing this. Come with us, we're doing this. It's the thing that helps you stay on track as a leader. It's derived from your most deeply held beliefs, values, and the principles you lead by. It's your internal compass, unique to you, representing who you are at your deepest level. So when Tom said about True North in Frozen, she was the true north. She was the, well, I'm going to head towards that. I'm going to act in a way that fits with that. I'm going to take kind of that person's belief systems and shoot for that. That looks good to me. So when we're thinking about true north then in terms of leadership, what have we got? What have we already created that kind of already gives us that? Yeah, that true north. What mechanism is already in place for us?
Values.
Yeah.
The mission.
Yeah, mission and values. Mission and values. I often say, don't I, like, this is the training. If something happens that's kind of outside of that, if you act by the mission and the values, it might not be what we decide to do going forward, but you will always be fully supported. If you can say, well, actually, I did this because I felt it was more in line with our values. Cool. Next time, oh, sorry, it's blowing a gale, 2 seconds. Cool. Going forward, let's make this the process. Let's make this what we do. But you acted in congruence with the mission and the values, so top job. So this is why this session is going to be our true north. This is going to be the one thing that we keep bringing it back to. So the more we grow, the more we'll experience challenges, the more we'll be like, oh, actually, hang on a minute, I don't know. Bring it back to this, bring it back to the true north. So this is, in terms of your leadership, this is your orienting point. So this is the thing that even though all of the challenges around your leadership might be spinning, we can lock back into our true north, into this session every month. And we know that, okay, this is what we come back to. This is what we come back to. Okay, so share with us. We are stepping into a new season, which is going to inevitably bring with it new opportunities, new challenges, and new learnings. So how are you guys feeling about stepping further into your own leadership right now at the moment?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I think that I've done quite a lot of reflection over the TTQ, and I was deleting loads of videos from my like various like what are they called, like files and stuff on folders. That's it. And it was all kind of the old Shinobi, the kind of Hannahs and the Amelias and the Joes, the Jordans, and they, that whole era. And yeah, I think my leadership kind of derailed then. And I don't know, been sort of drifting a bit. So I'm looking forward to kind of really focusing on not what did I need to do then, what do I need to do now? With the people in front of me now, what do they need? I've been trying to kind of get back to something. And also I've watched them dance and I thought, you know what? Shinobi now are much better than they were because, we're all better. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I feel the same. I mean, it was quite strategic that we would kind of shrink the size of the team. But there's no getting away from the fact that from the leadership point of view, like, oh, I have a team of 10 to I have a team of 5. Like it doesn't feel like you're playing as big anymore. But then when you look at the team of 5, you're like, this is exactly what we need. This is better. It's more concentrated. It's more concentrated. Joe, what about you? You've got like massive strides that are going to come in your leadership this year.
Yeah, I'm kind of like excited, but also curious to see the development from the online side of stuff to going back in person. Because when we did the masterclasses, it was just so strange to be speaking to a big group of people rather than those different boxes on a screen. So yeah, it's going to be strange but exciting.
Cool. Okay then, so thinking about our Clifton strengths then, which of your Clifton strengths do you intend to lean into? So we've got that top 5 now. Which one of those do you each intend to go, that's the one I'm going to really lean into? Or it might be more than one, it might be like those 2 or those 3.
I need to get a better idea, like a more kind of immediate idea of what my Clifton strengths are.
Yeah, same.
So I can probably, 2 seconds. Ooh.
Okay, I've got them here.
Oh, you've got them. Okay.
Adaptability, deliberative, relator, and developer. Looking at that, develop a thing, recognise and cultivate potential in others. I reckon looking at that adaptability.
Okay, and what is it about adaptability that you're like, yeah, right now that's the one that I'm gonna lean into?
I think that particularly with the elite teams, so like the elite teams are on my brain at the moment because I'm doing the whole sales pitch about it. But with them, I think that we always start the year clearly going that way, and then inevitably, as you go through the year, you just kind of, meander a bit. So I think by me being adaptable, I'm able to go, okay, I want them to be here, and they're over there. I need to be adaptable, and then just retarget, or I need to be adaptable in my approach.
Cool. Okay, Joe, have you managed to find yours?
Yeah, I've just found them. My initial one's intellection. I feel like it's there, but I don't do it enough. Like, I could study more things, read more books, do things like that to kind of improve that. So yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's a really interesting area to focus on because it's quite specific. Like you can tell if you've done it or not. Whereas Tom's one of adaptability is he's going to have to do quite a lot of reflection to go, was that adaptable? Was that as adaptable as I could have been? Whereas yours is like kind of, did I do any activities this month that were stretching that intellection side of me? The other thing is though, like you're saying, you need to improve it. That's in your top 5. So means there's 29 other things. So like you're better at that than 29 other things. So don't give yourself a hard time. For me, I think it's the empathy. That's my third one. And I feel acutely aware that it's the third one. So I'm like, let's make it happen. Let's focus on this. Oh, and then I should probably make sure everyone's okay with that. And I want to kind of flip it, make sure everyone's okay with it before I run off going, yeah, we're going to do this. It's going to be great. Okay, cool. And I think those strengths, you've kind of articulated how they're going to help you, or certainly Tom, you did with your adaptability. Joe, how do you think leaning into that I forget the word for it, begins with I, the one that you're thinking of? Intellection, the irony that I couldn't remember it. Intellection, brilliant. How do you think that's going to help you?
I think it would just help me be a bit more grown up, I guess. Just know more and be a bit more, knowledgeable.
Okay, cool. Just so you know, the grown-ups are all winging it too. Okay, cool. So who did the cheese quiz?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, me too. Everyone's like, never again will we just take stuff she puts on social media at face value. She got us with the crisps. She got us with the cheese quiz. Amazing. And what did we discover? What did we discover about most of the team in terms of cheese?
Brie.
Oh, Brie, yeah.
We're all Brie. And what does, let's imagine that the dream team is a beautiful cheese board. What does the Brie contribute to the cheese board? What's the benefits of us having lots of yummy Brie? I love Brie.
Fuck, I can't remember.
Me neither.
Wasn't I've got Facebook open here somewhere. Wasn't it about their kind of level-headed and calm approach to stuff?
Level-headed, calm, pours oil on troubled waters, keeps everything kind of constant and comfortable and everyone feeling okay. Yeah, if you can get it up and get the actual thing out, that would be brilliant. And I got Stilton, which is the smelly one. Yeah, so T, if you can get at those cheeses, that would be awesome. I should have had it open.
Yeah, it's just loading now. It's just rinsing our internet.
Oh, okay, cool. So let me know when you got it.
All right, Brie, the diplomat. You, my friends, are a smooth wedge of Brie. You embody the diplomat style of leadership. Though it may sound exotic, you are actually quite down to earth and are always looking out for your team. Like any good bit of Brie, you are non-confrontational and very agreeable. No, I'm not. Oh! You keep your wits about you, even when under pressure. And rarely make waves at the office or on the cheese tray. Pros, avoids overt conflict by managing all sides, rarely rocks the boat. Is that special sauce that holds the team together. Cons, avoids conflict, difficulty in changing status quo, like performance and feedback, etc. Characteristics, exotic in name, but very approachable. What? Works well with all the crackers, racist, like staff or your peers, but also very agreeable on its own, melts beautifully, doesn't fall apart.
Well, I appreciate it's a cheesy quiz, but I think that sounds very much like both of you. Okay, Tom, and let's rinse through Stilton, the smelly one.
Stilton, the strategist. Well. There you are. A visionary, a strategist. You are a creamy Stilton blue. That's right, a blue. Before you run off with your assumptions about this brilliant blue, remember it's your unique ability to influence people, to get them working together, that makes you special. At work, your influence abounds. On the cheese tray, well, your influence abounds there too, as you tend to make your presence known. You have a decisive knack for charting new ground and creating cross-functional vision. You find solutions for problems yet discovered. And most importantly, you do this through collaboration. No Stilton Blue is best on its own. You must be paired with a complementary flavour for your true strengths to shine. And that takes a strategist. Pros, solution finder, visionary, very long and short term, collaborative, challenges, assumption. What? Solution finder, visionary, which is long and short term. You're collaborative and you challenge assumptions. Cons, irritatingly perfect.
I don't think that bit's true. And neither does my husband. So Joe, you don't even need to comment. Don't worry, we've both said it. Okay, so you might be wondering.
Characteristics. You influence the whole tray with charm and personality and you get people talking. Done.
Brilliant. So yeah, you might be thinking like, where the hell did she go off on this cheese quiz tangent? Well, there is, as always, method in the madness. The basis of cheese, although they're all really different, is pretty basic. You just need 3 core ingredients. Yes, I did the research. Cheese is made of milk and salt and then some live microbial cultures. And it's those things that make each cheese different and distinctive and have its own flavour and style. So if we're all on the Dance Wise cheese board, we're all made of milk, we're all made of salt, and then you two have got the same microbial cultures, and I've got different microbial cultures, which is what make us all cheese, but all different kinds of cheese. So, in the same way, not all leaders have the same style, but if we look to well-known entrepreneurs, and indeed within our own Dance Wise dream team, it could be suggested that at the core, many share certain traits, just like the 3 ingredients of cheese. Ding! Okay, so go with it. So think of a leader that you truly respect, and then think about what attributes of leadership make them excel. So think about like a political leader, or like a cultural heavy hitter, or someone in history, or an artist, or someone that really led in their field, and just think for a minute about what was it that made them excel. My favourite is Churchill. I just think he's the bomb. So yeah, just think of any leader, and then think of a good leader. Don't think of a crap one. That won't help you. Think of a good one, and then just think through what is it that makes you think that they're a good leader. What is it that makes them excel? What qualities and attributes have they got that make you go, that's it? If we were going to narrow down what is the equivalent of milk, salt, and live microbial cultures for leadership based on that person, what would they be? So we're not gonna share. So just have a think. Just kind of get your brain working and like, what is the milk, the salt, and the microbial culture of the leader you're thinking of? And then, is it fair to say that a lot of leaders would share those same things? I feel like in that same way, it probably is like this and this in common, but then actually no, that bit's really different, because that's what makes, Churchill and Beyonce. Okay, so qualities of great leaders. Hopefully this is going to tie in with the kinds of things that you've been thinking of about that person. I'm going to give you a cheese board, obviously. It's not exhaustive, but it does encompass the 5 signs of commonality in great leaders, as suggested in the research that Gonzalez at Inc. did. So here is our leadership cheese board. See, they're all little cheeses, because you can tell I did this, not Tom, because otherwise they'd be much more lifelike. So according to Gonzalez and the research that they did, qualities that great leaders share are transparency, self-learning, flexibility, affability, and selflessness. So for the rest of today, we're going to be thinking about how each of us relate to each of those cheeses on the cheese board. And we're going to be thinking about those kind of 5 key traits of great leaders and where we all sit within each of those wedges. And we're going to think kind of about ourselves, for ourselves. We're going to think how we are with each other. This is interesting. This is confronting. How you think the rest of the team view you in terms of those red wedges of cheese. And then how you want to show up in those areas. So those are the questions to just kind of have bouncing around your head. What do you think? What do you think the team thinks? How do you think you are with the team? And how do you want to show up in those areas? So let's chat cheese. So transparency. What Gonzalez meant by transparency, I've got it here. Transparent leaders are open and honest with their peers and team and are candid about the direction of the team or company. They share the reasoning behind every decision and encourage people to openly express their opinions. So have a think about, you know, kind of what you feel like you are in terms of transparency, what you think the rest of the team think you're like, how you want to show up, all of those things. If I was thinking about that paragraph, transparent leaders are open and honest with their peers and team, I think I am that. Candid about the direction of the team or company, much more so during and post COVID. Before COVID, I felt like I needed to protect everyone. So like, if things are going great, let's kind of, oh, hang on a minute. We've got a Jan. I was not expecting this. How lovely. I hope she's not been sat there for a while. Oops. Hello, we didn't know you were joining us. This is delightful. You're in time for some cheese.
Oh, sorry, I got bogged down in stuff.
Don't worry. I had nasty visions that you've been sat in the waiting room for half an hour because I wasn't expecting you. I wasn't looking. So we're just talking about different kinds of cheese and how they relate to leadership. And the first cheese we're thinking about is the transparent cheese. And I was just kind of talking everyone through how I think I show up in terms of this cheese. And I was just saying that prior to COVID, although I was quite open and honest with the team broadly, in terms of the nitty-gritty of the company, I wasn't. It was coming from a good place. It was coming from, I need to protect everyone. So if things are going well, I don't want it to kind of go to everyone's heads and they take their foot off the gas. And if things are going badly, I really don't want them to know, so I don't want them to worry. I know I can solve it. Like, it doesn't serve them to get themselves wound up if I think I can probably figure it out somehow. COVID happened, however, and I thought, you've got no choice. You've got to be completely open because this could go really south of the border. And everyone will have, I think it took the pressure off that no one would have thought it was my fault. You know, if the studio had closed, everyone would have gone, it's a global pandemic. Like, this was not Ali making a stupid decision. This was COVID hit. So I think that kind of took the pressure off. And then I was able to be completely transparent. I think I do encourage people to openly express their opinions, but I don't think I'm very good at telling everyone why I've made decisions. I think I'm very good at telling them that I've made them and going, how is that? Are we all okay with that? But I don't know that I'm necessarily very transparent at kind of talking people through the reasoning. So yeah, does anyone want to share how they feel they are in terms of the transparency cheese?
I don't think. What do I think? I think I could probably be more transparent. I don't think I'm always saying what I'm thinking, perhaps.
And would you say that that's probably what the rest of the team would think about you, or do you think they'd have a different impression?
I guess I tend not to think about it. If I had to think about it, I'd say, yeah, I mean, I don't think I say something unless I think it needs to be said, which inevitably leaves stuff on the table.
And is that kind of a status quo that you're comfortable with? Is that something that you think will change organically? Is that something that you think, no, I want to make a change there? What do you reckon?
What do I think? I think a little shift in the favour of being more transparent wouldn't hurt.
Okay, cool. So we can all then start to be thinking about ourselves and our own leadership in terms of the cheese of transparency. Then we've got the cheese of self-learning. And this one says, true leaders are not afraid to admit when they are wrong or when they don't know something. They recognise that they can always learn something new and advocate for self-improvement in their teams. I feel like this cheese is one of my strengths. I feel like I love learning. I feel like I'm quite good at going, sorry, my bad, that was me, oops. And this is how I'm going to fix it. We're in a training session right now. It seems quite reasonable to assume that I advocate for you guys learning and improving and whatever. So what do you guys think? How do you think you are as a self-learning cheese, how you are within the team, how you think the team view you, how you want to show up. I think the team would view me in that way. Well, we might be about to find out. If you're like, no, then maybe not. So yeah, let's chat cheese. Who wants to chat about the self-learning cheese?
I think this one I could do a bit more of. I feel like I'm learning lots because of where I'm at, but I don't like objectively seek to learn much. So yeah, I could do more of that.
Okay. And is that a change that you want to make, or is that like, I suppose I should?
Like in an ideal world, I'd love to, but it's like getting the kind of enthusiasm to do it.
Yeah, but remember, with these cheeses on the cheese board, the whole kind of concept is that you'll have cheeses that you prefer and you'll have cheeses that you like less, and therefore cheeses that come easier and cheeses that are more difficult. So some people are very, very comfortable with being completely transparent, and that's that. I was like, for me, that's really tricky. I don't want people to worry. Whereas the self-learning one, yeah, I could do that for days. Tom came up to see me just before this and he's like, oh, that looks like a good book. I'm like, it's new. Do you want to borrow it? Like, it's just like all about the learning. So yeah, remember that with all of these things, the whole concept is that there will be cheeses on the cheese board that you like the taste of better and cheeses that are a bit more of an effort to get through. Okay, the third cheese is flexibility. Here we go. Great leaders are known for their flexibility. They often challenge their own assumptions and surround themselves with people who have different views to them. For me, this is a cheese of two halves. Do I often challenge my own assumptions? I wouldn't have said so. But then I look on this call and I say, I do surround myself with people who've got different views to me, definitely. So yeah, I think I'm half a flexibility cheese. What do you guys think? Who's going to reflect on their flexibility cheese?
I don't think I'm very flexible at all, really. And bookkeeping doesn't interest or need to interest anyone. What needs to interest anyone from my point of view is finance, meaning management accounts, and that comes under your umbrella anyway.
So we're thinking more broadly than role, we're thinking person. So as a person, never mind bookkeeping or whatever.
As an individual, I think I'm very flexible. If ever cover was needed, I could always say yes or no, but more often than not, I said yes too often. I think I was too flexible sometimes.
So that's interesting. So that's something else to consider, isn't it? Is that even though cheese is lovely, if you have too much of a cheese, you're going to throw up. So going too far into those strengths can also be a weakness. So with the transparency one, if I told everyone every time we didn't have the revenue I was expecting, like every day, I'm like, I was expecting £74.54 today, and just so you should all know, it was £73.51. Everyone's gonna be like care level, like I'm sure it will shake itself out, chill out. So you can definitely have too much of a good cheese. I would definitely agree with that. Good point. Okay, affability, the affability cheese. Leaders who have real charisma can motivate even the most apathetic employee. They listen and communicate effectively to foster strong, authentic relationships with their peers.
I think the majority of the time that's true, but you will come up against a brick wall every now and again in life and it won't change.
Is this with you, or is this with the team, or is this with me, or?
I think it's true of me. I think it's true of you.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think I'm affable to a point. I think I'm like little Miss Smiley and laid back, and you can push me and 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 push me, and then you're going to hit a hard no. So yeah, I think that is a fair comment. Interesting to hear what the rest of the team think both about. I think this is probably the one where other people's opinions potentially might differ more from our own of ourselves. So yeah, who's going to jump in and have a big brave bite of the affability cheese?
I think by and large, I'm quite accepting of most things. And I try and, if I think someone's being a dickhead, I'll try and figure out why and kind of humanize it a bit. But I think, like with anyone, there's only so much patience you can show before you go, this isn't about, am I flexible? This is about, your approach is not the most affable, you know, or it's unpleasant, or you're going out of your way to try and push buttons here, and I don't have time for that. I don't think anyone does, you know. That's not me being like Mr. Ass Kicker. I think that's just, people will try to a point until you think this is getting stupid now, and the effort it's going to take to solve this is far outweighs the good things that will come from solving it.
I think that's a really good point. It's not a quality of leadership per se, but something that I think is a very key area to get very clear on in your leadership is your boundaries. So I feel like as a team member, as a boss, as a friend, I will go the extra mile every day of the week for anyone, as long as I can see that they're trying. And then the point where I'm like, hang on a minute, I'm putting in all the effort here and you're not stepping up. Well, at that point I go, do you know what? Because I care about the whole team and all of my friends and family and whatever, if I'm investing loads of effort and you're not, I need to just shift my boundaries so that I can focus on the people that are putting something back. And that could be a teammate, it could be a friend, it could be a dance-wise parent who repeatedly is kind of wanting to kind of be outside the system. You get to a certain point of like, do you know what, for every bit of effort I'm putting into allowing you to exist outside the system, that's taking my energies away from the other 99% who are actually really thrilled with the system. I could just be making it better for them with the same amount of energy. So I think, yes, affability in terms of our charisma, in terms of motivating people, in terms of listening, communicating, in terms of really nurturing strong, authentic relationships. The affability is really important. But I think there is a but. There's a concept about a team being like a bus. I think I might have mentioned it at the start of the road trip. This is where the bus is going. The first thing you need to do is make sure the right people are on the bus. So you can be affable, but actually if the wrong person's on the bus, they're never going to be happy, however affable you are, because they don't want to go to London, they want to go to Paris. So it doesn't matter how charming you are on the way to London, they're going to be pissed because they want to go to Paris. And the nicest thing for everyone is to just allow them off the bus. Yeah. Okay. Does anyone want to be brave enough to kind of do a rundown of what they think the rest of the team are like in terms of being affable? Or not?
I think every member of the team is affable until pushed. Hence, we have a system to deal with that in terms of parents, shall we say.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if that comes from our shared strength of empathy. I think we're all quite good at going, well, she's being a dick. Why is she being like that? And actually meaning, why is she being like that? There must be something that's causing her to suddenly act out. What's going on there? And then because I am very clear on my own boundaries, and as the leader of this collective, I want you guys to be able to be very clear on your boundaries as well. We've got a scaffolding that says, we'll help you, there's the hard no. Done. Okay, cool. One more cheese. The selflessness cheese. That's a mouthful. Okay, great leaders understand that their success is bound to their team's achievements. They seek to be of service to their team, helping the individuals and the collective team reach their goal and maximize their potential. This is another one where it's quite interesting to see whether your own perception of your selflessness cheese matches other people's. I feel like that's me, but I think it's the kind of thing that you would feel like that was you, whatever you did, because no one thinks they're a dick. So I feel like I want everyone to be successful. I feel like I want everyone to be really happy and achieve what they want to achieve, and all the rest of it. I think it's probably in our nature as teachers that we want people to reach their potential and exceed their potential. I don't know that I would ever have quantified that the team members' success and my success is kind of bound, because I kind of feel like it's not about that. That kind of feels like I'm selfless because I want to get this thing. I'm like, well, no, I want everyone to achieve what they want to achieve because that's what I want, not, oh, well, if Tom gets good at this, that will make this happen over here, which is what I want. Like, that doesn't sound very selfless to me. So that's my take on it. I think it remains to be seen whether other people would agree with me on that. Who else has got some comments around either their own selflessness cheese or someone else's selflessness cheese?
I don't think I am particularly selfless, to be honest. I think there's quite a lot of times where I think I could be more selfless, certainly.
Okay, that's interesting. What do kind of any specific scenarios spring to mind, or is that just like a concept you're thinking around?
I mean, gut instinct, really. Yeah, that's just kind of gut. I don't really just think on balance. Yeah, I could be more.
Okay. So if we ping back then, looking at these cheeses and how they relate to you as leaders and us as a team, I think it might be cool for us all to pick a cheese that we think it's going to be most impactful for us to focus on eating. Pick which cheese you think you're going to get greatest impact by exploring. So it might be your strongest cheese and you're like, if I really doubled down on that, big impact. Or it might be, that cheese is stinky as hell and I need to give that cheese some time, otherwise it's going to get moldy and make the fridge smell. So I think once you've got it, give me a little, when you know which cheese you think you'd get some benefit from thinking about this week. And this is this week. This is not like something you're committing to for eons. This is as you're going around various leadership elements this week. Which cheese would you like to nibble? Joe's got a cheese. Yeah. I've got a cheese. Tom's got a cheese. Jan, have you got a cheese?
No, not yet. I'm still sort of going into thinking mode, really.
That's right. So I think, Joe, you were the first to wave at me. Which cheese are you gonna choose this week?
I think it's got to be the self-learning, because it's one that I'd like to do more of, and I think it'd probably benefit me the most at the moment as well.
Okay, cool. And have you got any thoughts around what you're going to do in terms of that self-learning cheese?
I think for work side of stuff, I'm going to do a bit more in-depth detail in my apprenticeship stuff rather than sort of like the bare minimum. And then for like home stuff, I'm going to do some driving theory because I need to do that.
I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome that you can apply the same leadership strength to both areas of your life. That's awesome. Mr. T?
I think self-learning. I think the self-learning thing helps a lot with kind of clarity and direction and mental health and all that kind of stuff that I need to kind of have a bit more mindfulness over and work a bit harder on. I feel like I'm stagnating quite a lot universally, so I think that's probably yeah, the best place to go.
Awesome. And have you got anything kind of in your head of like, I think I'm going to try that?
I think that rightly or wrongly, I think a lot of the satisfaction that I have in doing what I do is tied up in running the street dance crews. I think one of the big issues I've got is I haven't necessarily increased or really targeted my dance ability in a long time. I've targeted everything else because it's easier, I think. So I need to invest a little bit in the right place to get better at the things I need to get better at.
Okay, cool. Jan, have you arrived at a cheese, or are you still surveying?
No, I'm still a bit away with the fairies, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm going to go with transparency. I'm on a mission this week to, when I say this is what's going to happen or this is what we're going to do, to try and also articulate because, so that you guys can see, okay, this is where we're going and this is how she got there, so that you can see what was going on in my head when I made whatever decision it was. So that's the one I'm going to go for this week. Okay. So it's time to stretch those lids. What is going in your leadership jar today? So we're going to revisit this jar every month. And by this time next year, you'll have all of your learnings from retreat around leadership and all of your metamorphosis sessions from our True Norths. So it doesn't have to be the right paper. It can be back of an envelope or whatever. Write down one of your leadership learnings, pop it in the jar, and let's see if we can stretch our leadership lid. And if you're happy to, I think it would be quite cool if we shared what's going to go in there today, because we've got a bit of time. And if you can't find a little bit of paper, you could always just kind of add to the bottom of a bit of paper that's already in there. Anyone got a leadership learning ready for their jar?
I've got looking into aspects of work and home life and what it is I'd like to develop, but more importantly, how I'm going to do that.
Oh, drops the mic. Yeah, not the what, but the how. Definitely. Definitely. I don't think we're going to get a leadership learning from Tom, because I heard 4 paws come up the stairs and then I heard 2. He's back. He's back. Mr. T, did you have a leadership learning for your jar, or were you preoccupied?
I was chasing the dog.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So I think what's interesting is I started doing this process myself, the leadership jar. And there's one learning that I don't feel like I've really gone into yet, but what's interesting is reading back over a couple of them. I'm like, oh yeah, the first one I opened, my learning, training each member of the team to be leaders. Tick. The studio is another person at the table. And having the studio mission fit to guide the leadership of the team. We've started kind of dabbling with that. So what's really cool with this process is, from time to time, you'll you know, you'll be opening up your jar to put a slip in and you'll go, I wonder what else I wrote. And then you'll be like, oh my God, I've done that. Or, oh no, I'm still not there. Okay, right, I need to double down on that if I'm still serious that that's something that is going to help me stretch my leadership lid. Okay, so next time, Unique Fromage 2020, we are going to jump into your own top 5 Clifton strengths, and we're going to increase your awareness of your strengths and how they intricately interact together. You are going to fall in love with your own talents, which will be wonderful. Next month, we're going to peel back the label on our Unique Fromage 2020 and ensure your cheese wheel is able to truly serve its purpose and bring the results you want for the studio, for our team, and for yourself. So we've kind of gone high level on the whole cheese board today. Next week, we're going to go, okay, cool. If Tom's a cheese, let's look at what is making up that cheese. Joe's a cheese, what's making up that cheese? That's how it's going to work. So yeah, I look forward to exploring your Unique Fromage 2020 next month. It's going to be fun. So thank you, Dance Size Dream Team, for our first ever True North. I hope you're kind of inspired by stretching those lids as much as we can and being empowered as leaders this year, because I think the untapped potential on the team is huge. Does anyone have any questions before we wrap up? No?
The slide's going to be available to read so I can see what went before.
Always, always, always. Yeah, they always go up on Trello with the recording, no problem. So they won't go up straight away because I'll need to download the recording from the cloud and then upload it to YouTube. So it'll probably be the end of the day before they're up, but they will go up. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions around the training that we've done? No? Questions? No. Okay, lovely stuff. We are under the hour, which was my intention. Well done, team. Which means you can spend the next kind of like just round out the hour with popping onto the monthly communications board, making sure that you've done it, kind of dotted every I and crossed every T, so that our communication is on point. I've got a really fun communication exercise lined up for you guys. We won't do it next time, maybe the time after, which is going to draw into really sharp focus why effective communication is so freaking important. So yeah, just round out the hour on the comms board, make sure that everyone's got the information from you that they need, so that everyone can be being their own best cheese and not being kind of impacted by some like moldy cheese on the side. We don't want that. Okay, thank you, Dancers Dream Team. I will see you very soon.